I think as collectors, we tend to put some parameters around how we collect. I know I do anyway. I'm sure it's a bit different for everybody. For me, it's usually about space management, trying to limit spending, or trying to build particular groupings of characters. When I first got into the classified series, one of my parameters was that I only really wanted one version of any character. Well, I've definitely broken that self-imposed guideline several times already. So these are my top 3 figures that I almost passed on, but I'm glad to have picked up anyway. My reasoning for passing was mostly the same for each. I already had a previous version or 2. Let's check them out, do some comparison with some of the other versions, and talk about what makes these figures awesome. I really dig this Snake Eyes more than I thought I would. I already had 2 at this point, so I was out on this one. But it just looked too cool. Yeah, it's all repaint, even the accessories are all reuse, but this version is the one I think pops the most on the shelf. I love the use of color in this version of Snake Eyes, and I think he looks good posed with the Redeco version of Scarlet. Here are the 2 versions of Timber side by side. Exact same figure, different paint. I think the all-white version looks really cool, like Snake Eyes. He pops on the shelf. That said, I do prefer the gray version. And here he is with the other 2 versions I have. I think he really stands out from the other 2, though I like the all-black versions, and I tend to favor the Alpha Commando Snake Eyes. The all-black versions tend to blend into the display, I think. This version has more presence, in my opinion. Here he is in a diorama shot. With the variation of color, I think this version photographs very well. In my opinion, this is the definitive classified Roadblock. When I first got into the line, I picked up the Redeco Roadblock. I was happy with the figure. He reminded me of the Real American Hero version 2 Roadblock that I had when I was a kid, and I didn't mind the futuristic weapon. When I saw this one come back at retail prices though, I couldn't help but to grab one. This is just a beefier figure than the first Roadblock. He looks rougher, he looks very close to the original version of the character, and his accessories are superior to the original classified versions in my mind. I love taking photos with this character, especially with the blast effects. I just think he looks really awesome. Already having a Duke and a Ram Cycle, I did not plan to pick this up. I wasn't thrilled for a repaint of the one small vehicle the Joes had, and I also wasn't interested in a straight up repaint of Duke. However, I had all the other Tiger Force characters on pre-order, so I figured I would just complete the team. Depending on who they come out with moving forward, I may or may not add to the 4 Tiger Force I already have. I was also happy with the original Ram Cycle, and I didn't really care to have a second one. But once I got this in hand, I kinda love it. It always catches my eye and draws me over to the shelf. I do want more standard military colored vehicles, but something a little flashy here and there is also a welcomed addition. Here are the 2 Dukes next to each other. They're the exact same figures. That said, Tiger Force Duke, even with the Tiger Force colors, feels a little more muted than the Redeco Duke. The Tiger Force version almost feels like the more realistic version. After having this in hand, I have to say that if I could only have one of these Dukes, I would pick the Tiger Force Duke. Here he is atop the Ram Cycle, looking down the battlefield with his binoculars. This figure also looks great surrounded by the other Tiger Force characters, and the Ram Cycle really does take that part of the display up a notch. I guess the moral of the story is that it's okay to try to put some guidelines around what and how we collect. Having some kind of self-imposed rules or specific collecting goal, it helps me to say no to a lot of things I would likely buy on impulse. I think it can also add other levels of consideration to the hobby and makes it more engaging. At least that's how I see it. Still, it's okay to break the rules every here and there, especially when you're the one who made the rules up in the first place. I think that's especially true when the figures are clearly awesome and it's a purchase that you're happy about. So, coming up, I have some new dioramas coming to me. So, look out for some more figure photography shorts and stuff about diorama things. Uh, we also have the G.I. Joe stream coming on March 8th. So, unless they decide to do it a different day on March 7th, they'll send out a tweet or something. I think we're probably going to have, well, I think it's pretty obvious. We're probably going to have some pre-orders for the Rock and Roll and Shipwreck Wave, more digital renders, and I'm hoping that maybe some Tiger Force and Python Patrol updates, because I'm actually really more into that subline than I thought I would be. Also, I think that we'll have plenty to talk about after that live stream, so, you know, all the channels are going to be talking, so it'll be fun time there. And last not least, if you like this and you want to see more, like, sub, all that stuff, find our 1134 Comics website if you want more figure photography, comic-y stuff. And that'll be it. See ya.